Okay, welcome back. This is our fourth recording. This will be a short one as well, and we are going to talk about power and authority here for just a few minutes, and we will do your fifth quiz question as well. Okay. So I have a few definitions here for you. So we've been talking a lot about Max Weber, and Weber came up with these ways to talk about power and authority. So power, although I don't have this definition on the screen, is the ability to control the behavior of others even against their will. I want to tell you that I just looked at the final exam and I noticed that that definition is on the final exam. So just to give you a heads up there. So power is the ability to control the behavior of others even against their will. So Weber came up with types of power which he called authority. There is illegitimate authority and legitimate authority. I guess here I do have that definition here, but I call it authority. So authority or power is the ability to control the behavior of others, even against their will. Illegitimate authority is what we call coercion. It's the illegitimate use of force or threat of force to compel obedience. So, illegitimate authority might be something like somebody using coercion to get you to do something that they want from you. So if I told you, for instance, that you had to go wash my car or I wouldn't give you an A, that would be coercion. That would be an illegitimate use of my power, which of course I would never do. Legitimate authority is control exercised with consent. It's the justifiable right to exercise power. And these are divided into two types. The first is influence. This is the least formal type of authority, and is less direct and more subtle. So this is like when we see people on TV and we find them very attractive, and so we buy what they're selling us through their influence. We are giving them that power. We are influenced by them. It's not coercion. We have the choice whether or not we want to go buy that product, but we are persuaded through their attractiveness, their wealth, their fame, their celebrity, and so that is called influential authority or authority through influence. Institutional authority is what we more normally think of as legitimate authority. This is like the police. So people believe in and grant others the right to power over them. So the police, we give them the right to give us a ticket if we drive too fast on the freeway. This is institutionalized authority that we have granted to certain people and certain organizations and groups. Taxation is a type of legitimate authority where we have agreed to pay taxes and we give others the authority to decide how those taxes will be used. Of course, we have the power then to vote them in or out of office. So we have three main types of legitimate authority. And so remember, we've come down here to, this is not the coercive type. This is the type of authority that we have granted to people to have over us. So legitimate power institutionalized in organizations. The first is charismatic authority. This is authority that is based on the personal appeal of an individual leader. The extraordinary attractiveness of an individual leads people to want to follow them. Maybe you have heard of David Koresh and Jonestown. He had an extraordinary type of charisma or attractiveness, and his followers saw him as having something special. Words that are used to describe people with charismatic authority are gods, saviors, or visionaries. So they are followed, we follow them because of their charisma, because of their personal attractiveness. The second type of authority is traditional authority. It's based on appeals to the past or a long-established way of doing things. People who have authority based on tradition are obeyed because that is the way that it has always been. Generations have passed it down. So we don't have that much of that in the United States like they do in other countries, but kings, queens, feudal lords, these are people who have traditional authority because it has been passed down to them, not based on their attractiveness, not based on anything they did, not because we voted them into office, but because they were born with that authority. And I just answered the last quiz question. The Queen of England and the British royal family are examples of which type of authority? It's traditional authority, the fourth one. Lastly, we have legal rational authority, which is based on legal and personal rules that have been routinized and rationalized. So this type of authority is when explicit rules and procedures spell out the rights of rulers. Or those with authority over us. For instance, the governor of our state, currently Governor Brown, he has authority over us and to make decisions on our behalf because he was voted into office. However, it's not just that he was voted into office. He has that power because he was voted into office, but he has explicit rules and procedures that are spelled out for him as to how much power he has, and he can't overstep those rules and procedures. The authority under legal rational authority is rested in the office, not in the individual. So we have a government of laws, not men, is the quote. So a lot of time, authority is a mixture of these three, and so they're in combinations of these three. For instance, President Obama had a great charisma, so he had great charismatic authority as well as legal rational authority. Some traditional rulers, some kings and queens, have also had great charisma and so had both traditional and charismatic authority. Okay, so that's it. That's all the lectures for SOC 101. I want to thank you all for a great course. I've enjoyed working with you, and all the best luck on your final exam. Be sure to email me if you have any questions.